What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, and I'm going to take a look at Stokastic's MLB DFS Lineup Generator for today's slate. It is June 10th. I'm going to be taking a look at lineups for both DraftKings and FanDuel. While you're coming in, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. All right. You can still get Lineup Generator for 50% off, by the way, for the first week. The link is in the description. It's going to be just $4.48 for that first week. If you use the link in the description, it'll still be just $8.95 after that. So remains a fantastic deal after the first week. But if you want 50% off your first week, use the link in the description of this video. I'm going to look at DraftKings lineups first. I'm going to look at all stack types. And I think I'm going to go to all lineups. I want to see a mix of lineups here, so I'm not going to choose, just chalky, balanced, or contrarian. I'm going to let it give me whatever lineups it wants to give me, and I'm not going to lock in any pitchers. And just see what comes out here. All right, so first lineup we see here, we've got Michael Kopech at just 11% owned, Taj Bradley 22% owned. So the pitchers not particularly chalky. This lineup in total, just 80% projected ownership. It is a large slate, so that might be part of it, but it's a 5-man Mets stack. And then we've got Ryan McMahon in Colorado, Jorge Mateo as a one-off, and Charlie Blackmon. So we got a 5-2-1 stack, I guess, with these Rockies, with McMahon and Charlie Blackmon both being very low owned in Coors. That's good to see. Jorge Mateo also low owned. Man, this is a very contrarian lineup we're seeing here, which again, it is a very large slate, so we're not as concerned about the ownership on a slate like this. Kopech and Bradley, let's see where they fall. Taj Bradley, number one on the slate in terms of top 2 odds. Interesting. This is even on a slate this large, it looks like the pitching is not particularly great. And then Kopech we've got with it looks like 5th overall in terms of top 2 pitcher odds. So 2 of the better pitchers on the slate in terms of their odds of being some of the pitchers you need. And then the stack being the Mets 4th in top stack odds. They're pretty far behind San Diego here, but still 7% chance to be in the top stack on the board. A little bit of positive leverage here in terms of ownership versus top stack odds. Good to see that. And then we have a couple Rockies bats in there as well, some positive leverage there. Kind of surprised to see that the Rockies aren't even higher here against Ryan Weathers in Coors. But yeah, Rockies 8.2% chance to be in the top stack. So looks like a good stack here. I'm going to save this lineup. We'll take a look at one more, and then I'm just going to jump to the end. All right, so another Taj Bradley lineup here. Bowden Francis is the other pitcher here for Toronto. 4-man Diamondback stack with a 4-man Padres stack. Interesting. So 4-4 stack here. We get that Coors game, the Pods and Coors, of course, the top on the slate in terms of odds of being the top stack, along with the D-backs. I'm curious where the D-backs fall here. So we've got the D-backs 5th in terms of top stack odds. Looks like another strong stack there. And not crazy high ownership. Again, under 100% total lineup ownership, and leaving $1,200 on the salary. It's a good lineup. We know that every lineup we're going to get here in the lineup generator is going to be a good lineup. All bad lineups have been vetted. They've been filtered out for you. These are all lineups that have been found to be plus EV in the Stokastic sims. I'm curious about Bowden Francis too. Where does he fall here? Not really familiar with Bowden Francis. Yeah, so he's not, particularly high up there, but relatively flat pitching day. So he still does have a 7% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on a slate of this size. That's actually fairly high. 28% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on the slate. So that just means top 2 point per dollar pitcher. Looks pretty good. From that perspective in particular, the value perspective allows you to pay up for those Padres bats. Looks like a good lineup. All right, I'm going to save this one, and then I'm just going to save 20 lineups, jump to the end, see what we get. Our exposures in total for our first 20 lineups. All right, so through 20 lineups, we have 75% Fernando Tatis. Obviously going to look great here against the Rockies. I still don't know that I want Fernando Tatis to be in 75% of my lineups. I would probably go back and get rid of some of those Tatis lineups, go find some lineups that don't have Tatis in them to kind of mitigate risk a little bit here. Gary Sanchez also in 65%. Don't love that. So probably if I get this set, I'm going to go back and get rid of some of my Padres stacks, try to go, in different directions in a little bit more of my lineups here. But honestly, wouldn't be the end of the world. They're again in Coors Field in a great spot here. So not, I'm not too upset about getting this much of the Padres, but I'd probably go back and get rid of some of it. Cole Irvin, the highest exposed pitcher here, 40% Cole Irvin. Let's see where he is. in terms of top 2 pitcher odds, yeah, pretty middling here against Kansas City, but does have an 18% chance of being top 2 value pitcher on the slate. And that kind of it goes to show you how good those San Diego bats are looking, that you kind of need some value there to get to some of those Pods bats. Taj Bradley, number 2, he looked obviously good in the tools as well. And then we get, yeah, just a ton of Padres at the top here with some pitchers mixed in. All right, I'm going to take a look at FanDuel lineups as well. See if we get something similar. I'm going to do all stack types. And I'm going to do all lineups once again, not going to lock in anybody. Tristan McKenzie, the first pitcher we get on FanDuel, and I'll take a look at FanDuel here as well. So in terms of top pitchers tool, Tristan McKenzie third on the board on FanDuel with an 8.8% chance of being the top pitcher, getting a little bit higher owned there, but still third on the board in terms of top pitcher odds. It's just one pitcher on FanDuel. And then the stack, we've got looks like a 4-3 Braves Yankees with Joey Meneses one off there. A little bit higher ownership on FanDuel here with a 30% owned Ronald Acuna. That's very high. Michael Harris, 13% on a slate this size, getting a little bit more there. But then, kind of bringing it down. Tristan McKenzie, 17% ownership, reasonable. But then Joey Meneses, 6.5% brings down the ownership. And then IKF getting 1.2% projected ownership really brings down the ownership there. So not a huge concern there. Does use the full salary, which again, in MLB DFS, not a concern for me if you use the full salary. That's really only something I factor in for like Showdown or, MMA, stuff like that. I'm not worried about using the full salary because you're not going to do too much in MLB. All right, second lineup, we look at Patrick Sandoval is the pitcher. We've got 4-2-2 with the Brewers being the 4-man stack. Nats a 2-man stack, and Giants a 2-man stack. Yep, looks right. Heimer Candelario bringing down the ownership, just 3.2% ownership there. This one, a lot higher ownership here than we were seeing on those DraftKings lineups. This one actually leaves a good amount of salary on the table, which again, that's also not a concern for me. If you can leave plenty of salary, you can use all your salary. MLB DFS, it's pretty random, not a concern either way. All right, and I'm going to go through, actually, let's see where the Brewers fall in terms of top stack odds on FanDuel. Number 2 on the board on FanDuel in terms of top stack odds. Looks like the FanDuel slate is only 7 games. I didn't look at what time that starts, but that's probably the difference. What's going on here in terms of which stacks we're getting to. Just 7 games on FanDuel as opposed to, I don't know what it is on DraftKings, but it's a lot more than 7. So different kind of stacks we're getting to here. All right, I'm going to jump to the end. Looks like we're getting kind of a diverse lineup set. I kind of like this new using all lineups. We just saw somebody like 2 days ago now win $15,000. He used the all lineups. I think he got to one of his contrarian lineups, took down a tournament for $15,000. Seems like a good approach if you're trying to diversify your lineup set to get a mix of chalky, balanced, and contrarian lineups. So I think that's I'm probably going to be looking at those from now on instead of just going balanced. I kind of want to see a portfolio, a large portfolio of different types of lineups. So on this one, on FanDuel, at the top, we're getting to a lot of Braves and Brewers bats at the top. Taj Bradley being the highest exposed pitcher, it looks like. Patrick Sandoval up there as well. We got some diversity here. The highest owned players that we have out of our 20 lineups, we do have Ronald Acuna in 65%, Willy Adames in 65%. So not, really spread out that much. But outside of those two teams, we are still getting a mix of a lot of different types of stacks. I would probably go back if I got this lineup set and get rid of some of my Brewers and or Brave stacks, try and, lower some of this exposure, kind of flatten it out a little bit more. But again, that's just a matter of risk tolerance. If you are willing to risk it, these are probably going to be your best bets. Obviously, again, every lineup you get here is going to be plus EV. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. Again, you can get Lineup Generator for 50% off using the link in the description. It's going to be just $4.48 for your first week. Check it out if you haven't already, and good luck today.